Hey, good morning. Let me make sure that I get everybody in that is in the waiting room. And I'll watch to see if we have anybody new pop in with us. I wanted to kind of hopefully try and get some more people, and you just kind of never know who you're going to be able to get and who you won't. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to discuss are some changes that are coming up uh, next week, but more importantly, changes that are coming up the week of the 19th when you guys start back in person. Okay, so this week I have been a lot more flexible with still being able to do Zooms and contact you at various times just because I don't really have but just a handful of underclassmen since I mostly teach juniors and seniors. However, let's talk about next week first before we get to the week that you guys come back, the week of the 19th. Okay, so next week, we start off with fall break. Apparently, there was a big miscommunication about the fact that there were multiple calendars out there. The calendar that I was going by stated that fall break was supposed to be Monday and Tuesday of next week. Apparently, that is not the correct calendar. The correct calendar states that it is only Monday that is fall break. So obviously that is a change that I'm having to make to our class calendar and to my schedule for next week. The other thing that is going to be added next week. Now, of course, if I add something, I'm not going to try and overload you on a week. We're going to kind of hit the pause button on class related stuff. And one thing, since we don't have flex days, I mean, I don't know if flex days are out completely this year or they're just out for this semester. And I know some of you are probably just, shedding several tears about that. But they're out for this semester for sure. Well, and one of the things about UCA that we promote that makes us different is that we focus on environmental literacy, which is what we're supposed to do on flex days when you guys go out and do the big sweep, when you do activities here on campus, things like that. So we want to take some time next week to focus on doing a little bit of environmental literacy. So that's actually what we're going to take time when you go into Google Classroom on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. You're going to have like little mini lesson activities that you're going to do that focus on environmental literacy. And then Thursday and Friday. Now, Friday is going to stay our usual. Like Friday will be the day if you have something that you have been working on throughout the week and that you'll turn in and then do a bell ringer. So Friday should always be quick, short, fast, get in, get out, get done, and kind of use that extra time to get ready for the following week. Especially because next Friday you guys will be preparing to come back in person. So that's a change for next week. Next week, you are going to use Tuesday and Wednesday to jump in Google Classroom. It should not take you long to do it. Jump in, you're going to do like a little mini activity on environmental literacy. And it is a daily check-in. You know how your bell ringers are daily check-ins? Well, it's a quick daily check-in because we still have to have a way to keep up with attendance. And I don't know if you guys even noticed it or got alerts the other day, but I have had to go back and make sure that I'm putting your attendance in. I've been keeping up with it on paper, but I have to go back in and plug it into the system. So if you see it go in as an R1, that means we are marking you as present off campus. So if you're doing your daily bell ringer check-ins, that is your attendance mark for the day. And it'll only change when it's supposed to be your day, whether you're A day or B day to come in. We will mark you present on campus. However, if you forget or if you do not go in and do your daily bell ringer assignment, you get marked absent, okay? Now, we really do not know 100% what the state is going to come back and say at the end of the semester as far as attendance goes. So we're just kind of waiting on that. But the biggest thing is grades. There will be final exams. The state told us that if we have students come on campus, that there will be EOCs and final exams. We are planning on making exams only mandatory for non-EOC classes as long as you have an A or B. We are planning on removing the attendance requirements unless the state tells us otherwise. Okay, so kind of, you know, information will come out as we get closer to final exams. The crazy thing is we're already halfway through the semester. I don't know if you guys can believe that or not, but we are halfway through. So I will let you know if anything changes with that. But as of right now, if you do not want to take my final exam, you better keep that grade at an A or B. Okay. If you fall C or below, it's final exam time. Okay. All right. So make sure that you're doing your daily check-ins next week. Like I said, I'm only going to have you do a couple of things on Thursday and Friday so that you are rip roaring and ready to hit it when we come in on the 19th. The biggest thing is getting ready for midterm when you guys come in on the 19th. You'll get your study guide. We'll do it half and half. We're going to do half the study guide together, and you're going to finish up the other half on your own. That counts as a test grade. I will show you exactly where to find all the answers, so there is no excuse, number one, not to have the right answers, and number two, not to be able to find the right answers. So that should be for everybody across the board, 100 test grade for you to be able to bank and help in case you don't do well on midterm, or if there's a project you don't do well on. Okay, so keep that in mind. So all that is coming. Now, the other big thing, and this does not affect any of you guys. I was really hoping that some of my students that have decided to stay virtual only, we're going to hop in because this kind of pertains more towards them, but it will affect you guys a little bit. When we start the week of the 19th, I will be teaching all day long, all right, until we get to the end of the day. There is a new thing we call the fifth period, all right? Fifth period won't affect you guys. It will only affect virtual only students, or it will affect you on your days off. So if you're an A-day student, it won't affect you when you're here Monday, Tuesday. It will affect you on Wednesday, Thursday. All right, same thing for B-day students. It won't affect you when you're here on Wednesday, Thursday, but when you're off campus Monday, Tuesday, that 2 to 4 p.m. time period is when you can get a hold of me, okay? If there is a need to Zoom, it will happen between that 2 to 4 time period. Otherwise, there will not be any Zooms happening at all, okay? I'm gonna modify my instruction. When you're here in the classroom, we're just gonna speed everything up. We're gonna kind of double time it. So everything that we usually do Monday through Thursday, we're gonna compact into just those 2 days, okay? So I will get you started on everything, you will finish up everything, and you will turn it in. If you choose to turn it in on your last day, let's say you're Monday, Tuesday, okay? If you choose to turn everything in before you leave class that Tuesday, then that's fine. You're done for the week, besides doing your daily bell ringers, okay? If you don't get finished, that's fine too. You will use your last couple of virtual days to finish up whatever you don't have done. Okay, if you are B-day and you come in on Wednesday, Thursday, please don't feel like you have to rush at home to finish up, okay? Do your daily bell ringer check-ins, all right? Make sure that you are going through your PowerPoint slides, you're writing down the extra in your notes, and that you are prepping for the days that you are in the classroom, okay? Because when we're in the classroom, again, we have to double time it. We have to speed everything up in a shorter amount of time. And then you have that Friday to finish whatever is not done and do your daily bell ringer, okay? So the setup is gonna look a little different. I am not going to be available to get back to you on an email or Google Classroom comments at all hours of the day, especially at night. That stopped last week. I cannot stay up till 10 o'clock midnight responding back to emails. I can't do it. I tried really hard the first 6 weeks, but I can't do it anymore. And that is no longer required of us since we are now teaching in person. If you contact me outside of that 2 to 4 p.m. Let's say that you send me something at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. I'll get back to you the next morning, okay? So I need you to be patient, but I also need you to understand that my availability is changing, and so will the structure of what I expect from you, okay? So I wanted to kind of clarify any of that information. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Like I said, it really won't change for us a whole lot until you guys come back on the 19th, but I did want to let you know about next week and those kind of schedule changes and assignment changes for next week, and then what it's going to look like when we come back that week of the 19th. I've made my schedule, so I know who my A day people are. I know who my B day people are. Hopefully you know and that you're ready, and hopefully you don't miss a day when it's time for you to finally come back, I hope. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. Anybody, question, comment, issue, or anything? No, maybe? Okay. All right, well, if you think of something, you can throw it in the chat and I'll watch it as we go. Okay, now, if you're usually with me on Zoom, which most of you usually are, I'm still going in and hitting our regular stuff. This unit that we're in is pretty short, quick, simple, to the point. It's all causes of the Great Depression. So this is like part 1. And then part 2 is looking at the effects of the Great Depression. And we kind of hit the pause button in between those 2 sections, again, for fall break, remote activities next week, and then wrapping up when we come back together, okay? All right, so if you're staying on and you're following along with me on our Chapter 18, Section 2 stuff, it shouldn't take us but a couple of minutes. We'll go ahead and knock that out. And again, if you think of something, let me know before we wrap up for today, okay? All right, really quick, Section 2 on the IDs. You've only got 3 questions and a couple of IDs. And a lot of this, again, reference your Google Notes slides and also reference those videos of me going over the extra info. Number 11 says, what struggles do people face during the Great Depression? Joblessness, homelessness, hunger, disease. Like it's bad, all right? We have millions of Americans that are going to lose their jobs, lose their savings thanks to the bank runs and banks collapsing. So joblessness, homelessness, hunger, poverty, disease. If you could name it, it was happening during the Great Depression. All righty, number 12. What environmental events of the 1930s worsened the Great Depression? And it was the Dust Bowl. 2 words. Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl. Okay, so again, if you didn't look in the video and look through the notes, the Dust Bowl is just like a freak environmental event. You know, like if things couldn't get any worse, here's the Dust Bowl. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if North Carolina got hit by 4 hurricanes. It's like, it's 2020. You know, why not? Why not? Hey, what about who was like freaked out when we had like a month ago that little earthquake? You remember that? It was like, what? This is crazy. It's crazy, but it's 2020, so we should expect hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes and like all the things, right? And everybody's like already trying to predict, are we going to have like this insane winter? You know, would that just like round out the craziness of 2020? But anyway, but the Dust Bowl is this huge, massive windstorm that comes through and picks up all this loose topsoil off the ground and makes this crazy dust storm to where it's so thick you can't even see your hand out in front of your face. And, you know, livestock, animals, cows, chickens, sheep, whatever, they're outside, they're breathing this in, and they die. It gets in their throat and lungs, and it kills them. So farmers lose livestock. People get what they call dust pneumonia. Yeah, dust pneumonia. It kills crops. So it does a lot of damage. It's not good. So that's the Dust Bowl. 13 says, how do people try to escape the realities of life during the Great Depression, there's not a whole lot of entertainment to take their mind off of this awfulness. All right, let me just say that, okay? But a couple of big ways. Number one, listen to the radio. Number two, go see a movie. And number three, go see a sporting event, right? Go out to a baseball game, you know? And you're like, what? If they're homeless or jobless, why are they out spending money doing something? Well, chances are they probably would rather scrape up 5 cents, and yes, 5 cents. 5 cents to go see a movie just to take their mind off of it for a couple of hours, you know, a couple hours less that they're not miserable, right? So listen to radio shows, go see a movie, go see a sporting event. Those are a couple of ways, okay? And I'm being very serious. People are, you know, trying to scour the city, scraping up a couple of pennies or a nickel just to go do something for a couple of hours, okay? Alrighty, so now you just have your IDs, and it's not meant to be a joke where it says hobo. Hobo is a homeless person, that's what you can put. A hobo is a homeless person, and most of the time we're referencing men, a male homeless individual that's kind of wandering around. Unfortunately, so many people are out of work and out of jobs. And so a lot of times when you, in movies and TV shows, when they're talking about hobos, they're talking about homeless men riding the rails. And when they say riding the rails, they're talking about riding trains. Obviously, they haven't paid for a ticket. So those are the ones that are running beside the train and jumping on at the last minute because they can't afford a ticket. But they're riding the rails, looking for jobs in other cities. That's what they're doing. They're trying to find a job to make money to send back home to the wife and 7 kids that are all starving to death. I mean, it's a terrible thing. But when you talk about a hobo, they are referencing homeless men riding the rails looking for jobs. Okay. All righty. 15, 16, and 17. All 3 of these gentlemen, well, for John Steinbeck and William Faulkner, for those 2, we're just put writers. These are both writers that are writing books and documenting the times, you know, just like right now. There are people out there right now writing books, making TV shows, and making movies about what's happening in 2020. All right, that's what's happening. These guys are documenting the terrible horribleness of the Great Depression, you know, because it may be gone, but it's not forgotten. We remember what it was like because of books, movies, TV shows, poems, songs, okay? 17, Grant Wood, I want you to put artist. He is an artist. He is a famous artist. And again, if you go through the PowerPoint slide or the Google slide, you'll see some of his artwork from the 1930s, late 1920s, 1930s, documenting the Great Depression, okay? All right, now, all we've got left in our last couple of minutes is just filling in the blanks in your unit packet, filling in the blanks on 18-2. Again, this is pretty short, sweet, to the point. We'll do this, and then I'll just kind of double check that nobody has any questions about this, what's coming up next week, the week after. All right, so let's knock it out, 18-2 in your packet, and let's fill in the blank. All right, section 1 is the Depression worsens. A says in 1932 alone, some 30,000 companies went out of business. Went out of business. That is your blank. Went out of business. B says throughout the country, newly homeless people put up shacks on unused or public land, forming communities called shanty towns. S-H-A-N-T-Y, shanty towns. So these shanty towns were tents, or they were made up of cardboard boxes or trash. You know, I mean, something just to have shelter over their heads. You know, I mean, that's part of a basic human need. is food, clothing, and shelter, right? Okay. Now, C says blaming the president, President Hoover, blaming the president for their plight. People refer to such places as Hoovervilles. We're nicknaming them Hoovervilles. So Hoover, H-O-O-R, I'm sorry, V-E-R, H-O-O-V-E-R, Hoovervilles. So again, we're blaming the president. Now, is it just the president's fault? Can Congress not do something to pass a new law or bill or help? Yeah, but it's a whole lot easier to blame one person than it is to blame 536 people, right? Yeah, it is, you know? So anyway. All right, D. It says, from the blank to blank, America's wheat fields became a vast dust bowl. So why does it say the? It's talking about the Dakotas. So that's blank number one. Blank number one, capital D. It is talking about what will eventually be North and South Dakota. At this point in time, they have not yet been divided, so it is still the Dakotas. From the Dakotas all the way down to the great state of Texas. So Texas goes in blank number 2. So the Dust Bowl is humongous, and it goes, here we go, look at my visual, from the Dakotas straight down to Texas, and it goes all the way out to the East Coast. It's pretty crazy. We have pictures and video of the dust coming over the Statue of Liberty once it makes it to the East Coast. It's crazy. It's like out of a literal movie, you know? Okay. Let's see. E, many families packed their belongings into old cars or trucks and headed west. That's your first blank. West, hoping for a better life in California. They're going all the way to Cali, hoping that things will be better. It's not. It doesn't really matter what state you go in. The Great Depression is happening everywhere, okay? All right, section 2 says art and entertainment. A, during the 1930s, more than 60 million goes in your blank. More than 60 million Americans went to the movies each week. I told you, they might not have but 5 cents in their pocket, but they want to do something to take their mind off of it. B says millions of people listened to radio shows. That's your answer. They listened to radio shows. Again, something to take their mind off of it. Radio shows such as Jack Benny and George Burns and Gracie Allen, these are all comedians that were coming on the radio and doing like talk shows. All right, C, radio melodramas were often sponsored by makers of laundry soap, causing the shows to be nicknamed what? Anybody want to guess? You can still watch these, but now they're on TV. They're not radio shows anymore.
Soap operas?
Yes, soap operas. Yeah. So now you know how soap operas got their name, because they were shows that came on after laundry soap commercials. All right, D says during the Depression, writers and authors. That's your answer. Writers and what did I say? Writers and artists. I messed up. I'm sorry. Writers and artists portrayed the life around them. All right, E. The writing of novelists such as John Steinbeck evoked sympathy for their characters and indignation at social injustice. That's your answer. Social injustice. There we go. And last but not least, F says in 1936, magazine publisher Henry Luce introduced Life magazine. Life magazine, a weekly photojournalism magazine that enjoyed instant success. So that's Life magazine. Okay. Okay. All right, so there you go. That is section 2 for today. We're going to finish everything tomorrow with 18-3 in your packet and in your IDs and SQs. The only thing that you'll have left in the packet is the reteaching activity. And that one, I'll probably do like we did last week. Like I'll get you started on it and then you'll wrap up and then you'll turn everything in. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, another reminder before I forget is progress reports. I tried to get everything in yesterday. I did not. I will continue working on grades today. If you are in Honors American, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 grades left to put in for you guys. And if you're in Standard, I only have 3 left to put in. So I'm going to finish putting in grades. Your progress reports will have all of Chapter 16, World War I, all of Chapter 17, 1920s. It'll have your combo test in there. I put that in there yesterday. And projects. And I think that's as far as I'm probably going to get for your progress report. Okay. Just keep in mind that there are a lot of major grades that go on second 6 weeks. So if it's, not looking so good after I put in those couple of units, then you need to make sure that you really, 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 really push hard. Make sure that study guide is done and looks fabulous. Make sure that you're working on that fall STEAM project and that it looks fabulous because it counts as both a test and project grade. It's very time intensive, so that's why I've doubled the grade on it, and it should boost up. Again, if you don't do well on midterm, it'll boost up your midterm grade, and hopefully your overall second 6 weeks grade. Okay. So progress reports are coming. You will get them in hand when you come in person on the week of the 19th. Okay. They will not be mailed out. You'll get them in person. Okay. All right. So a lot of stuff, a lot of changes, a lot of announcements. I don't think anybody threw anything in the chat, but any questions, comments, concerns, problems, anything at all? Nope. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that's it. Like I said, I'll finish with everything, chapter 18 tomorrow. And that's it. Tomorrow will be the last time that you will visually see me through virtual media until we meet again in person. Yeah. Thank goodness, because I'm about tired of you guys, and you know who you are because there's no video camera on. Yeah. Yeah. So that way it'll be like, I see your face now, even though you all have beautiful faces. You all have beautiful faces, and I don't know why you don't want to show them to me because it's super awkward staring at names. But anyway, yeah, it's fine. You can laugh at me all you want. It's okay. It's all right. I'll trip you in the hallway. It'll be fine. Okay. All right. Well, happy Wednesday. See you.